Hi, welcome to We Are Cosmic Nature, the podcast. My name is Kelsey. Today, I'm honored to share with you a wonderful guest named Dinah. She is a friend and a collaborator, and she has such a beautiful toolkit when it comes to energy healing and holistic wellness. And she loves to work with our being and creating balance through the mind, body, and soul. So, not just one. She works with all of it because it's all one system. And I love her philosophy and I love her enthusiasm and passion for this topic of healing and really balancing your energy and you know learning tools or utilizing tools or services that are non-invasive in nature, and the power of working with energy, working with our minds, and things like meditation, as she'll share, is so simple and so profound. So I'm really excited for you to connect with Dinah and hear a little bit about her story and what she does. And you'll actually be able to experience a little bit of that as we move through a really wonderful meditation together towards the end. So please enjoy. I hope you love it and love her as much as I do. And we'll see you next time. Okay, so I have my wonderful friend here, Dinah, and we're going to talk about, well, a lot of things, including energy healing and frequency and all the wonderful medicines and wisdom that you have to share. I'm so excited. So, yeah, I would love if you would introduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about what you do, but what you do because it's who you are, not just like your job by any means, but what lights you up.
Yeah, thanks, Kelsey. So I'm Dinah Simpson, and I've never really defined who I am, but I'm in the energy field dealing with like wellness, I guess, and specifically I'm a Reiki master and a sound healer and a mom.
Yay.
So all of it is all, rolled up into who I am. Like you said, it's just a part of my being. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. Love it. And yeah, so actually I kind of want to start with the Reiki conversation. If you wouldn't mind, I'm sure most people have heard of it, but just like a general description of what that is and how you found it.
Yeah, sure. So Reiki is it's a Japanese kind of modality that was discovered by Master Usui, and it is an energy. It's life force energy, which we all have. It's all around us, and the practice is when you get attuned. So when you work with a master, your teacher, you get opened up to a beautiful world of energy, and you get attuned to this. And so many years ago, that was my journey. And the attunement allows for someone like myself, a practitioner, to channel this energy into the body. And it's a really beautiful experience because it touches upon, I liked just the three pillars: the mind, the body, and the spirit. And so it heals through just this energy frequency. Again, it's all within us and around us. And so when it's channeled into the body, it helps heal. So we can work with like pain on the physical level. It will also work with just emotional imbalances. And when we start to align the physical and the emotional, we really become this beautiful conduit to connect to spirit. So I like to look at it as in this beautiful spiritual introduction, right, into an awakening, I think. But on a practical level too, it really is. It helps like insomnia. It helps like if you have tummy issues, works with our chakra systems too within the body. So anything that's kind of out of balance, working with the energy of Reiki really brings us into alignment, and it makes us we're kind of connecting to a higher frequency when we work with this life force energy, right? And I don't know, like, I guess a good example would be like, when you're feeling really good and everything's going your way and the sun is shining and you just have this like openness in your heart and this pure joy. That's what I feel Reiki is, like this little, you just kind of like bottle that joy and it just
Mm.
opens up the body. And when we're really open to it too, the emotions, we become a little bit more aware of what's going on within ourselves, and it opens us up to become like this observer. And sometimes things get maybe when we're in an imbalance, right? So, say like you're dealing with heartache, right? Like a breakup or something, you kind of are able to deal with it in a more detached way. And it helps you deal with, like, oh, okay, I'm beginning to see these patterns in my life. So it really is just a beautiful beginning to the journey of, like I said, almost like an awakening, this path where it just opens us up and starts to unfold and has us working with this higher energy that's within us and that's meant for us to experience. So I think, like, if you haven't heard about Reiki, I think it's just a beautiful experience, and it's becoming more well known. I
Mhm.
know that they're practicing in hospitals, especially around here in the DC
Wow.
area. Yeah, the Reiki is being used to help with the physical ailments, physical joint pain. And I think it's just like really amazing that it's being adopted in this way.
Mhm.
So, mhm.
Wow, yeah, and it's like, I don't know if you use this word or I'm just picking up on it. It's ancient, right? Like it's been around
Yes,
for a long time.
been around for a really long time. And the story is Master Sui, he was a monk, and he was meditating, and his teacher had him go to a very, solitude place, right? This is what the practice of becoming a monk is in meditation. And I think as he was climbing the mountain, the story goes, he fell, and when he got up, he was so focused on the injury on his leg, and he placed his hand on the space that was hurting him, and it was such an extreme focus that his hands started to warm, and all of the energy within his body went to the injury, and he healed himself. And
Wow.
so when it's a combination of the intense like meditation process that he was going through, and this gift, I guess, that came out of the wound, the injury, and his focus. And so he started to unfold all of that and meditate on it, and it became like very clear to him that this was part of his journey. And he started to teach it, and it stayed very central in Japan for a long time. And then I forgot the woman's name, but it came to the West. And now more and more people are learning more about it. It's these, we start to learn there are so many ancient practices that
Right.
have been like very quiet.
Yeah.
And then now, it's beautiful, the age of Aquarius, right? The information, and we get to use this information to help heal ourselves. It's an
Mm.
alternative way to, experience the healing and the growth, and it's available to everybody. So
Yeah. Isn't that so magnificent? And I love that, yeah, it's being more practiced and utilized in even Western medicine. And
yeah.
I think that, yeah, pulling from these ancient modalities is so important. I mean, it's been around since before technology, and people use that for wellness and for healing. And um it's I like to think even about the science of it. Like, is it related to like quantum physics in a way? Like being able to work with energy, not just the physical or just the mind.
Yeah, I think so, because if you there is Reiki you can receive, distance Reiki,
Mhm.
right? It transcends time and space, right? And so it really is the channeling of this energy. And when you're open to receive the energy, you're open to receive, right? And whatever the intention is for, a distance Reiki session, for example, it will be received. And the really cool thing too about Reiki is not just like this distance and time. We can heal things in the past as well through,
Mm.
because the energy, if you put your mind and your thought into it and you bring maybe a moment from the past, this is the reason why it helps open up, right? And understanding our patterns. And we can go back and kind of heal and understand what happened into that space and time in that journey and just heal it. It's also kind of like moving into, maybe even past lives and things like that. They become a little bit more open to you. You start to see these things. So I think, yeah, that quantum field,
Yeah.
when you're working with frequency, when you're working with energy in that way, especially when it's an elevated energy, when you're working with, like for me, it's always my intention is to deal with the energy that starts with like the heart, right? Because there's
Mm.
nothing more pure and that high elevated frequency of love. And so when you're working with that kind of energy, I think that it's magical. You can heal anything with that experience. And I'm like kind of a corny person maybe in thinking of it that way, but truly it is like that high frequency, just that high frequency that begins with like this heart chakra,
Yeah.
um, is super healing.
Oh my god, no, I love it, and I can speak to that too. Most of the Reiki I've ever received, and I've had the honor of receiving Reiki from you, but I've done virtual sessions. I think I've had one in-person session ever, and
Mhm.
and I definitely feel it. Like, especially, I don't know, for me, I feel like it's the next day. I get this, like, residual, like, a release or something, and then like, clarity and inspiration comes through. It's like, I I'm sure we all experience Reiki differently, and we all have different needs and all that, but in my experience, it's been, like, often, like, perception changes. Like you said, you might be open to things in a different way, and yeah, you're almost shifting your energy to see things more clearly, which I so appreciate, and I love too that you mentioned the age of Aquarius, like, especially as, we're in a transit right now, Saturn moving through Pisces, like, that is going to help us to really name this ethereal realm, like, on a collective level. So I think, more science about different, energy healing or quote unquote spiritual topics is going to become a little bit more normal and accessible. And then yeah, Pluto moving into Aquarius, like we are going to have this information so available, and it's so great that we have wonderful healers like yourself that are going to be ready and available for the mass collective that is going to be like, oh, not just my doctor, but I also need to go to my Reiki practitioner.
Well, I feel as though this is the shift, right? Like this is going to be the shift into the future, because when we look at medicine, it's very limited, and the way we look at medicine is very targeted too. But when you look at holistic energies, you're working with, again, going back to mind, body, spirit.
Mhm,
So, like for example, I had a client yesterday, we were talking about, she was going through a breakup, and like a lot of things were going on emotionally for her, but physically she was feeling fine. She
mhm,
was feeling fine. And so, I was really nurturing her through this process of just like, trying to see things and understand patterns and where they come from. A lot of these things come from like either our past, and we just continue on, right? Like we were talking about these programs, from earlier on.
mhm.
But then we were working for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden she started to shift within the body. And it was because our emotions are this frequency that operates at different levels.
Mhm.
But when we are able to like work through them, they're contained into this body, right? Like we embody
Mm.
our experience. And so she started to feel like so much fatigue. She was feeling nauseous, like all of it started to manifest within the body. And so now we're working on, nourishing her body and making sure that, her blood pressure was going up and, all of these things. And it's just almost as if like this 3D world, which our bodies are in, it
Mhm.
takes some time for that like
Mm.
frequency to settle into the body. I don't know.
Right.
It's just quite fascinating for, when we look at the science of it too, right? And so
Yeah.
she and I we were talking about how, she was really worried about her blood pressure and if she should go on medication or something. And I was like, you know what? Her doctor said the same thing too. It's like, you've been going through a lot of stress. So
Yeah.
let's probably manage what's going on. And once that's sorted out, the nervous system will start to like
Mm.
acclimate, it'll calm down. And then,
Mhm.
probably won't even need to worry
Yeah.
about the medication. And I
Yeah.
think that's a wonderful way to kind of like use these ancient modalities
Mhm.
to really help us. And the
Mhm.
more we know about it, the more information we
Mhm.
have is going to just really, improve the quality of our life and our
Mhm.
well-being,
Yeah.
especially, these days when there's just like so much coming at us.
Yeah, there's so much, and that the looking at our well-being holistically, like you said, mind, body, and soul.
Mhm.
It's not just the body, we gotta consider our emotions and our mental, wellness, and yeah, how are you taking care of your energy? Like, just any all of it is so important, and it sounds like a lot. It's like, "Oh my god, I have to take care of so much," but we can just have our tools, have our daily routines, our practices, and yeah, trust the flow. Um, but I also want to talk to you because I'm obsessed with your sound healing practice. I know you do a lot, but um you incorporate that into sessions and meditations, and I'd love to hear a little bit about that and the crystal bowls you use and how that frequency is also healing.
Yeah, sound healing is amazing. Again, it's ancient, right? Like so many different tribes, ancient cultures have used sound to celebrate a ceremony, rituals, whatever, healing. And so my discovery of sound healing came, oh my goodness, it was probably like 10 years ago. And it was more of like, I walked into a crystal shop
Mhm.
near the beach, and there was a sign that was like sound bowl session or something, and it kind of called to me, and I signed up, and the experience actually it was it was really tough for me.
Mhm.
I laid down and we were asked to take a couple of crystals and, like whatever our intuition was calling and kind of surround ourselves with it. I don't, it was in the summertime too, so it was warm, but I don't know what happened to me. But when I went through that sound bath, my body reacted in such a visceral way. I was shaking. I started to cry. I got very anxious. It was so much shaking, and my body I was freezing cold. And so, like I said, it was the summer, and it was not a pleasant experience for me at all. Not pleasant. The sounds were so, it hit hit my ears and tones that it was really, really hard for me. And I just couldn't like I did not understand because everybody would talk about it being like so soothing, and for me it wasn't. And so I walked away, and the practitioner was like, "Oh, I hope everybody had like, a great experience. And it literally shook me. And so I sat with it, after, and then like for almost a week, I just kept replaying things, but little things started to come up. Um, I like spent that week with a lot of like painful memories and a lot of crying where I didn't even know what it was attached to.
Mm.
And I also felt such a deep sense of peace came after. It came like days after. Um, so I started to I called the place and I asked who the practitioner was, and I wanted to talk to her about my experience. And she asked if I was going to be in town a little bit longer. She was going to do another one by the beach, and I wasn't going to be able to make it. But that experience really settled with me in such a jarring way. But what came after was the fruit of what I was able to experience through that session.
Mhm.
And so it wasn't so much of the sound bowls. It was, obviously like that really brought up a lot for me. But I started to pay attention to sound a little bit more. And my family is like very musical. And I used to play the cello, and I had not picked up the cello in so long, like since college. And I picked up the cello and I started to play with the cello, and the sound, it just resonated so deeply, and I didn't even play songs. I just played chords, played each string. And just from igniting that sound in my life, that's where the healing started to really come through. And I had a piano, and I grew up, my mom is Asian, and she was just like so hardcore with the piano. Like I would have to practice in front of her for like an hour every day. It was horrible.
Oh my gosh.
It was horrible. So again, I started to just become curious with the sound. And so I would just go up and down, just listening. So I think what happened was that moment with the sound bowls, it like struck a chord with me and
Mhm.
piqued my curiosity about what sound can do to our physical experience, right? When you
Mm.
listen to certain songs and things, it brings up memories or creates a feeling within the body. And so I started to just study a little bit more. Like, can that feeling in the body be can it match with the energy? And with me, because it brought so much up, like how can this be used for healing? So that kind of started my journey with the sound bowls, and using frequency of sound to open the body and understanding how chakras work. I started to really move towards the sound bowls, because once I do have the Reiki practice and the meditation practice, I really felt that it was going to help a lot of people, really connect, with that root. And later I found out that a lot of the irritant, that sound really that bothered me, um, was parts of the body that I had to pay attention to, parts of my chakras that I had to pay attention to.
Oh.
Yeah. So it
It's like
was
almost
quite,
releasing any resistance that you might have in that area.
yes. And so
Mm.
as I practice now, I have some classes, and some of the students would say like, "Oh, I really didn't like that sound," and now I can explain very with experience, what's happening, and sure enough, like week after week, when we work through the series, um, it's like the same sound. It doesn't bother them the next time. And again, it must have been like something worked through.
Mhm.
And we just kind of release and let that go. But it's always a sense of peace,
Mm.
what we get out of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's so interesting. And the sound bowls, there can be multiple, like in a set, and they all have different tones, right? Because they're different, maybe sizes or thicknesses or something. Is that right?
Yeah, so the set that I work with, we have the chakra system, right? So
Mhm.
it matches up with our seven chakras, and I have an eighth one that I use that's like with the auric field, and
Mm.
so each one of them works with, so like the big one, the big, like if you are familiar with sound bowls, right, the crystal sound bowls, um, the big one works with our root chakra. It's this beautiful bassy sound. That's one of my favorite sounds, the bassy one, because it's the root chakra, really grounding. And because I work with so much energy, I love to be grounded. I
Mhm.
really crave that sound. And so each one is tuned to the frequency, that sound frequency, the megahertz of those chakras. And so it's so clear and it's so perfect. Just an example of that is I've been doing some recording of the sound bowls, and the producer that I'm working with, he is just like, he works with music, right? He works with instruments, and when I did the first recording, he was just like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." On the computer, there is no, like, it's perfect sound. You don't have to adjust it at all. And so we were both really kind of like nerding out over the fact that these sound bowls were so pure. And, as I went through the recording, he was in a zone and I was in a zone. And yeah, the frequency is of each bowl. It is so high frequency
Mhm.
that, again, it does line up with our chakras, but then there are other tones too that kind of combine things, or
Mm.
work with like certain body system like experiences that we're trying to work through.
Yeah,
So
that is so cool. Yeah, I'm sure on the screen, like the lines must have been like perfectly spaced out and like, yeah, there was no adjusting necessary. And I often listen to like just YouTube sound bowl sessions and they're good, but like there's nothing like experiencing it in person. I've had that opportunity a handful of times. I wish we lived closer to each
yeah.
other so I could come to you in person. But it just like cuts out anything else in the moment. Like you're fully immersed in the sound, or the sound is fully immersed in you, whatever, and you're just there, and you're in that frequency, and it's like it's really a magical experience. And uh, it's so healing. And I also thought it was interesting that you mentioned, certain songs evoke certain emotions because there's a certain tone or rhythm. And you can think of music like there's certain songs or again rhythms that you can't not dance to. Like I don't know
Yes.
about you, but like
Yes.
like if there's a song on, I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't not dance to this right now. Like our bodies accept the sound so like that they want to move to it. They want to feel like flow with it. It's so powerful.
It's so powerful. And again, it's echoed in, ancient cultures, right? Like primarily I think of African culture and the sound of the drum, that
Mm.
beat, and the ritual of things, or even in the Asian culture where we have like certain sounds through the meditation. I'm thinking also of gongs and how like this deep gong sound, really opens us up. So yeah, the healing power of music, and when you understand it, how to use it and marry it with energy, it truly can shift the trajectory of any kind of experience. And like you said, like if you hear a song that makes you want to dance, like you're working with an elevated experience, and it really
Mm.
shifts you. So you can, be having a bad day and then you hear a good song on the radio or something like that, and you're instantly elevated. You're in a better
Mhm.
mood, you
Mhm. Yeah,
know?
that's so powerful. And with sound healing and Reiki, and I know you have other wonderful modalities like yoga and meditation, like it's obviously been a journey of sort of I don't want to say acquiring, but maybe remembering or meeting these modalities and welcoming them into your life. But how has that transformed your life? Like, was there a time that you were maybe disconnected from your energy or your awareness of your energy? Or can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. I think that I was definitely not living in my dharma for a very long time. And I mean, I went to university and I, got my master's and I worked in the corporate America in finance
Mm,
for a very long time and just kind of caught up in that experience.
mhm,
And it was great, right? Like I learned, I did, and but I was never really connected. I always did feel like I was supposed to be doing something else.
mhm,
And like that searching for something more, I guess, something more fulfilling. And I guess what really changed me mostly was the shift came when I became a mom and I was working and I actually had my own business. And so, that was like my little baby too. And I had my at the time the two kids. I have three now, but my little one was like in the playpen and then the other one was just like roaming around, and I was on the computer in the kitchen and I was looking at numbers, and the kids were just like screaming. And again, this visceral kind of experience, I got really angry and I yelled, and something took me, like, I don't know what happened, but something really took me out of what I was doing, like, took me out and showed me, like, observe what you are doing. And I felt horrible. Like, I'm sitting here screaming at my kids. That's not the parent that I wanted to be. And this was a pattern, that I
mhm,
had been doing for probably about a year or two, just really frustrated. Um, and that kind of, you know, pushed me a little bit to like, let's figure this out. Where can I find balance in my days? And I already had like, understood the practice of meditation. And I started to like try it a little bit more, and then I like go to yoga a little bit just to like, work out the stress. But I think that I go to an acupuncturist. This
mhm.
is something like, again, like my mom's Asian, so there are some things that I really was able to, can't get away from.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I started to go to the acupuncturist a little bit more to deal with some of the stress. And then he just started to talk to me about meditation more. And he was like doing sessions. And so the meditation practice really kind of shifted me. And then when you start, practicing these different modalities that are quite elevated, I think I became like more open to work with the fact that I needed to change my
Mm,
connection,
mm,
primarily with my kids and to myself, because I was just kind of floating through and doing the things that I thought I should be doing, but not truly being you know, who I felt like I was supposed to be. Like there's this like voice in our head or voice
mhm,
in our heart that like is guiding us. And so it
mhm,
was starting to speak a little bit louder and louder, and I grew up like, again, my mom worked, she was a single mom and she worked a lot, and I didn't have her around, and that's not
mhm,
what I wanted for my kids. And so I wanted to be more present. I wanted to slow down, and the meditation practice really like does that for you. It really
mhm,
slows down time. It makes you present. You have to be in the moment, and it allows the mind to kind of clear a little bit.
mhm.
Takes some time to get there, but as I started to find that practice, the Reiki started to find me.
Mm, true,
Again,
yeah.
like the sound started to find me, but it all started because of like, the challenges, I think, of being a mom and juggling the business, and my nervous system was just like calling for help. And luckily, I'm like open, and and that practice, especially the meditation, like
Mhm.
that really changed everything. And I ended up like quitting my job and becoming just a stay-at-home mom, or
Mhm.
not just a stay-at-home mom, but a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Um, but that whole process too, as a woman, it really messes messes with you.
Yeah.
Um, so this is the when we talk about well-being, there's the mental well-being too,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so yeah, I really started to understand that there were a lot of wounds within me, a lot of trauma that I experienced as a girl, as a
Mm.
kid. And I started to see that I was perpetuating, or I was like I was looping. I was
Mm.
continuing patterns that I, I realized needed to break,
Mhm.
because that's not the type of like parent I wanted to be, or person that I wanted to be. I knew that I wanted to lead with more love and
Mhm.
more openness, more curiosity. And when you kind of start to understand that this is the awareness, then you move towards shifting and changing.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's so, um, you know, like you mentioned, there was like some contrasting experiences and challenges that kind of propelled you to make some shifts. And um I'm just like so happy for you that you landed on the most beautiful tools in your toolkit to yeah, like you said, it's really become a part of who you are. And it's tools that I think we can all use. And again, I'm so happy that you are a teacher and an offerer of these services. And um, actually, I want to ask you, what are your like maybe daily musts when it comes to balancing your energy or showing up, connected to yourself? Like, what is a must do for you?
Yeah, so when I work with clients, I call them anchors. And so the beginning of your day and the end of your day, how are you anchoring yourself? Because everything in between is going to be uncontrollable chaos. So, it's taking care of yourself and nourishing yourself first thing in the morning. And what is it that you need to do that? I like to always suggest meditation, starting off pretty early in the morning if you can, just making time for yourself, a half an hour, or maybe, you start little, maybe it's 3 minutes. You wake up in the morning and you have an intention to sit in meditation, or even, turn on like an app or something to guide you through, but really just setting that tone for your day and taking care of yourself, starting off the day with intention. So just doing like, 3 minutes of meditation, and then moving, moving slowly, not looking at your phone right away if you can, because it's, what you're consuming. And so the first thing in the morning, we're tending to the mind, and we're setting the intention to take care of ourselves first, to nurture ourselves first. And then, once you've satisfied that, you can open up your world to, the craziness. Um, and so my routine, what I do in the morning, this is a little bit, again, it's been a practice over a period of years, but I wake up like around 4:45, and I do a Kundalini practice, a Kundalini yoga practice. So it's a little bit of movement. And then I end with my meditation. So I'm focusing on my mind and, connecting to spirit. And it's always like this mind, body, spirit
Mhm.
trilogy that I like to like check off my list. And just filling myself up first. So if, to your listeners, to you, it's kind of like reflecting on what is it that you need. If
Mhm.
you like to get up first thing in the morning and go for a walk, just like go around the block, or do like 10 minutes of that, just do something that will nourish you first. You
Mhm.
come first. And it's like we give so much in our jobs, in our doing, in our families and friends. We have to receive that energy back as well. So the first thing is just connect to the self and work with that practice in the morning. And then in the evening, I like to kind of, cool down, do the same kind of thing, like come
Mm.
back to myself and anchor in my day. So again, it's like ending with a meditation at the end of the day. And sometimes, it's again just like maybe a 5-minute meditation if you can do that. And I think just those two anchors really help. Like it's the foundation, right? As long as your
Mm.
foundation is strong, that and like a tree, right? Like
Mhm.
the tree, as long as that tree's foundation is strong, any kind of season can come in and affect it, right? Like lose the branches, gain the beautiful flowers and bloom and do all its things. But the wind blows, all of these things happen, right? But yet its foundation is strong. So it's sturdy and unwavering. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, I love that. Yeah, and um I find first thing is so key. Just before you pick up your phone, before you talk to your partner or your family, like I know if I don't get that space, I just feel off in the day. And I've done some meditations at night, but I often yeah, I've had troubles in the past, like, unwinding at night, and I can see that meditation would be helpful in those instances. Um, and would you don't have to, but I'm curious if you would be interested in maybe doing a quick guided meditation, like a short little something so that we can have a sample of what this can feel like.
Sure, sure. I mean, we can do a quick meditation. And yeah, so what you can do is just come into a comfortable position. So if it's seated in a chair, just make sure that both feet are grounded on the floor, uncrossed. All right. And you can start to close the eyes. And the hands can be laying in your lap, palms down on the knees for grounding, and palms up to receive energy if that's what you need today. But we'll just start to take a breath in through the nose, slow and steady, and exhale through the mouth. Another breath in through the nose, slow and steady, and out the mouth. And then one last time, breathing in slow and steady through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth. And just closing the lips and coming back to normal breath in and out of the nose. And just coming into the body, being present in this moment. We connect to the breath and just start to notice the top of the head and feeling if there's any pressure at the top of the head. Where I am, there's a lot of allergies, so there's pressure. So just start to notice and see if you can relax. Noticing between the brow and just softening. Sometimes we furrow here, so just softening those lines between the brow. Noticing the temples, the bridge of the nose. Feeling the eyes just resting in the eye sockets. Just allowing the eyes to release any tension from all of the looking at screens, lights. Noticing the cheeks and just softening the facial muscles here. And you find a little bit more relaxation around the face. Unhinging the jaw just slightly and noticing the tongue resting behind the back of your teeth. Taking in a breath through the nose and exhale. Softening the shoulders, Noticing the length of the back and just finding a little bit more relaxation between the shoulder blades. Just being present within this body. Noticing the spine, maybe paying attention to the posture and just adjusting a little bit, making sure the spine is nice and tall. Feeling the length of your arms, the limbs heavy here by your side. Feeling the upper back, the middle back, and the lower back. Just releasing the muscles, and just sending messages here to the body, the nervous system to relax, come out of fight or flight. Feeling into the heart space as you take this next breath in, just allowing the heart to open and expand. And just see, naturally, that's what the body does. When you take this breath in, the body expands to receive this breath. The ribs open, the lungs expand. And as you exhale, the body contracts. And feeling the belly, softening the belly. Oftentimes we're very shallow breaths. So as you take this next breath in, just consciously feel the breath entering the belly, maybe even pushing the belly out. Filling the belly with prana, with air. The amazing thing is all we need to do is breathe and everything just works. Again, feeling the limbs heavy by your side, the arms, noticing the forearms, the biceps, the triceps, the elbows, the wrists, feeling the tops of your hands and the palms of your hands. And noticing each fingertip, the thumbs, the index finger, the middle finger, ring finger, and the pinky finger. And if you can focus on the palms of your hands, maybe you can feel the warmth here. And focusing just a little bit more, you start to feel the pulsing within your fingertips. There is this energy that runs through, that courses through this body. This intricate system. Noticing the legs now, the top of the thighs and the hamstrings. Noticing the sit bones, just being supported here on your chair or wherever you are. Feeling the heaviness of this body, being in body. Feeling the knees, the shins, the calves. Just being curious here and feeling any subtle energy here. And noticing the ankles, the top of the feet, and now the soles of the feet. Almost just rooting into the ground. And now just feeling into the whole body. And noticing the coolness of the air just settling on the exposed parts of your skin, along the forehead and the cheeks, the collarbone, maybe on the top of your hands and the arms. And just noticing the coolness of the air as you breathe in through the nostrils. And on the exhale, notice the air warm. And just being here with the breath for a few rounds of breathing in through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Saying to yourself, I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. Here in this moment, we are connected to the body with this breath, releasing thoughts in the mind, releasing needs and wants, these expectations of the mind, and just truly being here. And in this moment, we are free. I invite you to maybe set an intention for how you like to feel from this moment to the next. Something simple that you would like to take through this day. And once you hold that intention in the mind, go ahead and take a breath in and allow that intention to just permeate the body. And then exhale, let it go. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live a life with ease. And when you're ready, you can start to bring movement to the fingers and to the toes. Opening the eyes when you're ready. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. I gotta come back to the room here.
Here we are.
Oh, yeah, wow. That was beautiful. So beautiful. Yeah, I just felt really present. Like, I know that's what meditation does, but I'm like not really anywhere else but here, and it's refreshing.
And, just remember too, like, meditation is hard. It's just like, working out the body. We're working a muscle, and it's not easy to stop the thinking, right? Like, sometimes I feel like in the meditation field, a lot of people say, I can't do it. I can't stop thinking. Well, that's what the mind does. The mind thinks.
Yeah.
And so it is a practice to come to stillness, and it is a practice to return to tend to the mind and to connect to the body. And when we can align in that way, it really does, just offer so much to rejuvenate and to nourish.
Mhm.
And then, there are various levels to tend to the mind and, become the observer and all of these things. But, just like working out the body, if you want to build a bicep, right? Like, we got to go to the gym, we
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
lift some weights. And we also have to turn it up a little bit, right? Like, we can start with 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30, like whatever that maximum is for you is the same thing with the mind. It really is returning to the practice to
Mhm.
receive those benefits.
And as well, I find I was able to see, like, to notice where in my body I'm holding tension, right?
Mhm.
And that's great to know. And now I can, use that intention and m- m- go to my other toolkits to focus and move energy from that area. So, yeah,
It's
thank you so
just that,
much.
like, shift. It turns on that, light bulb to
Mhm.
see
Mhm.
where we need to just like pay a little bit more attention.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, so helpful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I hope those who listen also experience the nourishment of the present moment. So as a final question, where can people find you, connect with you, and what services are you offering?
Oh, yay, thank you. Yes, if you'd like to connect and just, chat about all things energy, you can find me at Dinah Simpson. So it's DINAH Simpson.com. You can
Mhm,
also find me on Instagram, Key Living,
mhm,
HIGHKI Living. And yeah, if you could just like link to those, that would be great. But yeah,
mhm,
all things energy. I work with Reiki. I have two specialties. I'm a master in Usui, which is traditional Reiki, and I also do Kundalini Reiki, which is kind of like a different kind of experience of
mhm,
really working with the spiritual part of our life. And I do sound healing. So if you'd like to incorporate that, and of course, I do guided meditations. And if
mhm,
you're in like the East Coast of the United States, I also do access bars, which is something similar. It's a hands-on thing, but we work with a lot of touch points that really help with any kind of emotion and trauma. But all fun things.
mhm.
Oh, and I also do the Akashic records, which
Yeah,
I recently discovered through Reiki, which is super fun.
yeah.
The Akashic records also another amazing tool to just guide us through
Mhm.
um, life, this beautiful journey.
Yeah. Oh, that's so wonderful, and, yeah, I can, definitely vouch for Dinah's wonderful services. Yeah, you're just a medicine woman, and you've got all the things to
Yeah.
help us, and I just so appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Kelsey. And I am just so happy that we've connected because I've learned so much from you as well. So thank you for putting this together and starting this great conversation for people to also just become more aware of what's out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're here to spread the message. Absolutely. So, yeah, thank you for joining me. And yeah, I'm sure we'll have more to talk about. We can have you on again.
Yeah, be well, friend.